Greetings and welcome to the Autumnal Equinox of 2019. When I think about the equinox in this time of year, I think about the harvest. And in thinking about the harvest, I always think about the popular saying, as you sow, so shall ye reap. So today I want to talk briefly about my perception on this concept and how we can view it as seekers of deeper truth. So anyone who knows me knows it's pretty rare that I quote the Bible. However, there are times where it is completely appropriate, and this is one of them. I'd like to read to you from Matthew. When the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, he will sit on his throne in heavenly glory. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate the people one from another, as a shepherd separates the sheep from his goats. He will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you?" The king will reply, "I tell you the truth. Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers of mine, you did for me." I love that story because it's a wonderful example of the concept of reaping what one sows. And I want to talk today just briefly about how important it is that we view this example of moral character and ethical behavior in terms of the collective and not just the individual. Because as seekers, what we discover on our journey is that there is no personal me. There is only the one I appearing as all. And in that journey, we become more and more aware of how important it is that we make our choices not from the place of a self-serving ego, but from the place that recognizes that the right thing to do is to take the course of action that benefits the whole. And sometimes it means that the choices we make will appear to have a negative impact on us personally, but it is for the greater good that we make the choice based on the collective that we're talking about. And right now in this time, it feels as though the world in general is reaping what it has sown. And we can see it in the financial world, watching economies that are on the brink of major recession. We can see it in the environment as we watch the ice caps melting, Greenland melting at record pace, the hottest days and years in recorded history just stacking one on top of each other, and massive storms moving through, the likes of which we haven't seen. We can see it in the political world as more and more polarization creates greater opposition, and those opposing sides get more and more, crazy, just crazy in the way they're functioning, because one begets the other. What is required at this time for you as seeker and for our entire collective is to detach from all of the personal stories and to come back to the fundamentals of what it means to be a compassionate human being. The highest form of human emotion is compassion. It is the highest form. Love is not an emotion. Love is a state of being. But the highest human emotion is compassion. And it is not enough. It is not enough to only have compassion and to only think of helping those in your immediate vicinity. It is not enough to only think of your own family. It is not enough to only think of your own neighbors. We are at a time in history where, because of our interconnectedness, the way we have built our societies out, we are completely interconnected at this point. And of course, we know on a deeper, more fundamental level, since this is just the one appearing as the many, there is nothing but interconnection. But we're literally seeing it in the external world now, how interconnected we all are financially and concerning the environment, right? So because of that, rather than keeping our focus right in our own backyard, it has to expand out. And we have to do what the story in Matthew in the Bible is telling us. Those who are speaking, those who ended up being chosen, we could say those who reached a level of Christ consciousness, that's what that's referring to, are those who didn't need to know that they were serving the Lord in what they were doing. They acted out of their moral, ethical beingness. And because they did the right thing over and over and over again, they then were capable in the story of being accepted into, we'll say heaven, for the sake of the story, the kingdom of God. What will it take to turn this planet around? It's going to take that on a collective level and nothing less, nothing short of it. There's just no excuse anymore for holding on to any belief set that tells us we have to protect ourselves and hold ourselves separate from everybody else. There are people suffering in this world, and there are many people out there who are doing their best to keep us as compassionate humans from recognizing the suffering of our brethren. They are you. You are interconnected. They can't not be you. And so when you participate in any form of holding someone separate and withholding your love from that stranger you'll never meet, but doing it here and not functioning from here, when you do that, you hurt the whole by your own actions. So at this time of the equinox, at this time of the harvest, let us do our work to set ourselves up, so that the time of our next harvest will be more bountiful and more full of the love and appreciation and acceptance that we as human beings on this amazing planet that we call Earth should have for each other and for ourselves. I hope you have a wonderful autumn season with a wonderful time with your family around the holidays, and enjoy the equinox today. Thanks so much.